Chris Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Happy belated birthday, brother.
Thanks, man.
It was on
It's
the 9th of this month, correct?
yeah, and I will not forget yours. I always was convinced it was like the 18th or something, but
Yeah, mine was always after yours, which makes you older than me.
it's
What,
true.
what, well, like what, 11 days?
Yeah, yeah. That's you got me on that one, man. What's going on over there in Floridaville?
Just hanging out, buddy. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. We talk on the phone a lot, but I like your guitars in the background there. You got your favorite up there nearby?
You got the favorite. Here, I'll
You
pull
don't
it
have a
out.
favorite? Let me see the favorite.
It's the same. I don't want to date myself, but it's the same age. Hold on. Wait a second. Coming back. I was playing it last night, but when I was working in the rehab business, I was able to acquire from a guy that came there this 1958 Gretsch Tennessean Chet Atkins model,
Wow.
you know, and it's pretty cool. It sounds great, vintage stuff, but pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to get up one. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice guitar. I've been playing that a lot. It
Now,
sounds all right.
okay, so I want to ask you, but I first want to ask you this, like when did you and I meet? This was like we go back a couple years, so I just was kind of trying to get the dates straight because I have a memory, but I'm interested to know like when you and I first really kind of I know it was Reed, it was Walter Reed, correct?
Yeah, there was. I think. I think upon like first, like I wasn't one to like come out and talk to people just for whatever reasons, but I think you had an STC jacket on, which was when we were playing senior league there at Bluffside, you know.
The yellow STC
Yeah,
jacket.
yeah. See, I think you had that on, and I came up and talked to, oh man, are you play senior league? What team you on? I think it started there. I remember something like that. But then I remember, I remember they'd let me up in that announcer's booth, and when even before I sort of got to know you, I'd be up there like announcing the games, like next batter up. And I remember you coming up, and I'd goof on your name. Oh, here's John Dunn. Oh, are you done batting yet, or what? I used to say weird shit.
I never heard that. I was too nervous.
Yeah, they used to get mad at me. They used to have one of those little like weird lame round pizzas. They're like Gino's pizzas. They're like
Oh,
this.
hold on. What year was this? So we graduated in 77, so that would be 77, 76, 74, 75, like
I
73, 74, 75.
think that was my last. Yeah, the last run on. Yeah, I think like by the time I got to read, it was starting to fail, like kind of fade out senior league. So yeah, like 74, 75, 73, maybe even. Um, that was the last time. It was funny because like when we got to when I got, I had some like we were both going out for like track and field at that point, and I was still trying to figure it out because like baseball, whatever. I just figured go for the team in high school, but then I got there and it was like the team's already established, and I was like,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't want to try out again, and blah blah blah, and went for track, and it was funny because I remember that one instance when we were both training for like high jump and we were doing it and we were like the prospective guys and then you hung your butt out the window of the gym and got busted.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they
Wait,
pulled your
wait,
track meet.
wait, but the stupidest thing it was at 3 o'clock when the bell rang and everyone was running to the buses. But the dumb thing was, didn't I stick my head out afterwards and wave?
There's John Dunn. It was John
Well, let me
Dunn.
back up. Wait, hold on. So okay, the senior league jacket, but I vaguely remember, I'm trying to remember who brought me over to like the RBH crew, the early days of the RBH, which were I think it was you, Adam, and I forget who else was sitting there in the like the lunch area. And it
Probably
was the lunch, it was
Steve.
benches. They were like Steve was there. and it
Yeah.
might have been Steve that brought me over. There are benches, and I remember like standing there talking to you guys, and we were looking up at the looking up at the ceiling, and there was like someone you
Yeah, we were
guys
for something
chewed
wrong.
chewed your food and threw it up. I was like, the sick thing was like
Like stalagmites or stalactites coming from the wall.
the sick thing was like I'm home, man. This is my crew. These
That was
guys are great.
that was that was another Steve Schroyer inspired thing that he came up with. He
You-
always he would remember those candies, they're called now and laters.
yeah,
So
little square ones. Yeah.
they're like Starburst on steroids.
Oh yeah.
Steve would always like chew them and get like a bunch of this and do that spit thing, like where he just spit the loogie out on the ground too.
It was hanging like from the ceiling like a
Yeah,
foot. It was amazing.
I
Um,
had no manners. Almost as bad as when you used to let all like the spit drool out of your mouth and suck it back in.
I, I never did that. Well, yeah, I like wonder. Okay, so I guess if you think about uh when you're younger like that, what you gravitate to as far as like your group, like what molds you, and because we were definitely different. I remember my mom and dad kind of like. I mean, I'm wondering like, 'cause my dad used to wonder about you guys. He wondered
Yeah,
about me, but I think he was really kind of he was super understanding, but also
yeah.
didn't, he's trying to figure us out because we were definitely different, you know what I mean? So, but Reed was kind of an interesting place because you were a great athlete and, and I was pretty good too, but it seemed like all the great athletes ended up in Mr. Walter's donkey squad. How did that happen?
I don't know. I think it was more like I don't even know how that all balanced out. But I think it was more
It was so great.
like those guys were like, you just did PE and whatever the deal was. I always remember just being thrown in whatever class it was, like Hensley or Saponzi or what. All I think we kind of covered all those guys their bases, but it was about like authority or something. I think we didn't like want to like
No,
listen to what was going
you're
on.
absolutely. I didn't want to be told what to do, but I think look at like the greatest. I was watching a thing about the Oakland Raiders last night. The guys, Al Davis would hire like people exactly like us that just were they didn't follow direction, they caused trouble, but they were really good at what they did. I mean, I think the Donkey Squad always won all the events. I mean, that was the funny part.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember reading like how it was mandatory you'd have to take showers? I was like terrified. I did
Wait,
not.
and they pass out a little weird towel about that.
I would try to avoid it like the plague,
So
like
why was that a big deal? Because there was always some weird kid passing out the towels too. Who was that? I mean, that's just kind of weird. Okay, so and it was
it's
early
just
in
like,
the morning. Wasn't our class early in the morning? It was
man,
like cold.
you didn't want to go to your next class like wet or with like your hair wet or anything like that. It was like an oddball thing. They make sure you turn your towel back into like I don't know. Man, it was odd.
It was awkward. It
They
was
don't
very,
do that anymore, do they? They don't make in schools nowadays, like public schools. Do they still make like the kids take showers like with
well, I
you
think they let I think they let the dudes go in the ladies. No, I don't
know?
know. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what the rules are. Jack doesn't go to school. They're homeschooled. So, I mean, I don't know. He's been homeschooled and Emma's been homeschooled for 8 years.
Dude, I always thought that he was part of some school system. I don't know. Has
No.
that kid that's good on it or the wifey? Has she been are both of you kind of help out with that?
Um, okay, so we went to long before COVID, long before all the nonsense. We went to and there was trouble at the charter schools. Like I would go there during lunch and you and I would have not made it to these schools. They were, the teachers had everybody sitting for, long periods of time. And then when you got out to go to lunch or to nutrition, you had to march in a line and you couldn't talk. It was really boring. And so I would come visit the class. I'd be like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And the teachers would always give me this look. And then at lunchtime, they want to, you want to cut loose and say things. They're like yelling at him to be quiet. I'm like, you guys be quiet. So I'm like yelling at the teacher. So
Yeah.
we pulled them out. So we went to Orlando, and I swear to you, buddy, I've never seen anything like it. There were thousands of people at this Orlando homeschooling conference. I was like, yeah, because you want to know, like, again, you're not the only one doing it, and there's like other people like, and then you hear other people like, talking about their experiences with their kids, and then that's where I got my concealed weapons permit. So it's very right, sort of conservative, Bible, um, the Bible could be left in or left out, but it's more like it's a very sort of, I guess there's no doing it wrong and you're
Yeah.
not making any mistakes, but as parents, you want to believe you're doing it right. And you want Jackie or Chris or John to learn as fast as everybody else, but that's not really what's most important. It's about what I watch these guys is and what we kind of I think we experienced it because I think we got something that they never got to see. And that's the sad part because and I'll go back to the second, but the homeschooling thing was so good because the one guy that was speaking, one thing he said, I'll never forget, he said, um, I want my kids to learn my bad habits, not someone else's. And I was like, yes,
Right.
yes. Because you spend years and years trying to, mold somebody, and then they get to a class, it's like, oh my God, man, the teacher doesn't really want to work. She's teaching from the top down or the bottom up. Who gets
Yeah.
left behind? It's like, it's the
Well,
nuttiest.
I imagine too that there's a curriculum and
Oh
something
yeah.
you have to know in the whole thing. But it's funny because like when I think back now, I mean, I don't know what happens. It gets to high school level and this, that, and learning languages and all the extracurricular activities and being around, other people where you have to like forge friendships and blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't think anything I learned during those before couldn't have been learned at home from my parents. My parents weren't going to do that, for sure. But
Well,
uh,
our school was different. And why I say this is because I'm going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt, and see if you agree. So, Mr. Dosey, wood
yeah,
shop, Mr. Mallon, plastics. You had like teachers that were, how many years ago was that, Chris? It was a long time ago. Long time ago. But Mr. Dosey's classes at wood shop, whenever I do things around the house or whatever, those are things I learned back then.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's crazy. Even though they were rudimentary things like measurements and cuts and being, cautious and understanding like the tools but dude, they don't do that today. Auto
Unfortunately,
shop.
unfortunately, I was more inspired by home ec in Walter
But
Reed.
what?
Home ec. I had those cooking classes in
Well,
junior.
you became a chef.
Oh, I know, man.
It's
That's
what
like
you love to do. But what if there wasn't any home ec, right?
I know. I mean, I used to think that my mom was really a good cook, so I always used to watch her and everything and
Your
learn stuff.
mom. I miss
And
your mom.
it was yeah, it was funny. She was a character. But if it was fun. Plus, it's like I knew the chicks were going to be in the class, and then you got to eat. But you remember that Hayevsky in high school in our senior year? We had that class. She held us back to the last minute before graduation. You remember that?
Why would they do that to us, Chris?
And it was like we were such f-offs in that class. She was really like they put a scare that we weren't going to graduate. Man, I was like terrified. Man, I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. No, God, what was I gonna tell you? In the plastics class, were you in Did you take plastics? Were you in the class? You weren't in our class, but were you in the class before or out? I mean, because there was a moment where, remember where they put the little resin bucket
Yeah,
and,
you came forward with that recently.
well, I
And we
was all through the class dumping catalyst into the resin bucket, but unknowing to me, Edwin Hanks was too. Poor Edwin, I owe him a huge apology. Well, he was also, he was not guilty. He was guilty too, but that thing blew up and no one talked until Edwin spoke and he got punished. But
Well, it's weird. I mean, we must have been in the same class unless people did other classes because remember, we had to sit for a long time until somebody came up. And I remember,
we were in the same class. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it had to be because we started out. I remember making those little placards that held the pens and like the clipboard project. And then it all went to hell after like the first couple of required, you know, projects we were supposed to do. And then it was like, that whole thing went down and we just showed up and sat there and Mr. Mallon just sat at the front of the class. It was kind of lame.
So you
But
could have gone to you could have gone to a different school based on where you lived.
yeah,
How did you end up at Reed?
um, I did go to LeConte Junior High in seventh grade. and that's where everybody from like Valley View across the way went. So it was easy. Everybody from that district had a couple of choices. There's like Bancroft, and I guess you could have gone to Fairfax or whatever, but um, everybody from Valley View went to LeConte. Everybody from LeConte went to Hollywood High, and so on and so forth. So I went to
What
LeConte in
what
seventh grade.
what made you go to North? What made you come this way that way?
LeConte was just a bad school, man. It was already had like weird gang stuff back then, kids bringing guns to schools. It was really weird, man. And then I went there, and there's this,
Guns back then, really?
yeah, people were it was weird. It was like this weird inner city school, and they bust in a lot of kids from all over the place. Even like North Hollywood had an element of that, but we I used to get extorted for my lunch money every day, and like
Shut
get,
up.
yeah, it
Did
was
you
just
really?
thing. And then one day there was this like, so I knew like the two hot girls, from junior high. It was like Leanne Jones and Kathy Benton.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we had a class together, and there's this one guy, like wannabe gangbanger dude, that kept throwing spitballs at him like during class and blaming him. Hey Wilson, quit doing that. It was one of those things. And finally, I just snapped. We had a substitute teacher that day, but I remember I got up and I picked him up and threw him against like a filing cabinet, and it made a bunch of noise. And then I got sent down to the VPs and had to pick up, litter, for a week at school. But
Yeah.
every, the guy was like, "You're dead, man. Like, just watch your back." It was one of those things every day. And I had like shop classes with him, so every day it was like getting like the, "You're dead, man." You're dead, man. Um,
Plantone.
I just had enough. And then so at the time, the people I knew at LeConte were everybody from like junior high. I was talking to Mike Gips and Richie Smith and Brianne Benty.
Wow.
We're all going to Walter Reed because their parents were moving over to North Hollywood Studio City. So I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I remember just wanting out so bad. And when I went to my parents, it was like, well, it's out of the district. We can't take you to school. The school buses don't go there. I'm like, I don't care. I'll ride my bicycle every day. I'll never bug you about it. And that's exactly what happened. I rode my bicycle in eighth, ninth, and
No
10th.
kidding. That was a long ride.
Yeah, it was a long ride, but it made me strong. It put me in good shape for like sports. But I did that ride every day, unless it rained. I took the bus, or I'd get a ride once in a while. But it was great. It was like freedom. I got on the bike in the morning, went to school on my bike rack with my books, and then showed up and then met all those nuts like Adam and Shroyer, and we'd meet up with
Now, how did
bicycle.
you run into those guys?
Um, they were in classes, I think English or something, and we went to the library one day, and Steve was checking out a book on aquariums, like with tropical fish. I was like, oh yeah, you like tropical fish? Yeah, I'm into that. We started. Then he took me. He was like, no, another guy, and he introduced me to Adam. Same thing, like out there at nutrition, like under the. I think he'd introduced me to the food stalactite, area, and it went from there. And then going after school to their houses to see their aquariums, just like stupid shit. But yeah, that's how.
Did
And
you
then
know that? Did you know that they were a little off? They were a little different.
so Steve used to, yeah, in his room at home. I was like, holy shit! I used to see that. I was like, I couldn't get away with this there. But he would have like just piles of laundry in his bedroom, like they're like little mountains, and I like they didn't. His mom apparently didn't do his laundry or something, or it just piled up, and then he'd have to. But yeah, it was interesting. Like you just as a kid, you just know what goes on in your household, and when you see the differences in other places, it's always kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, that was the long and short of it all. But I'm glad I went on. Then everybody from Reed, of course, went on to North Hollywood. So I think I always wonder like if anything would have been different if I just went on to Hollywood High or whatever. Like would it have been a different journey, or would I have met different people or had more inspirational teachers? I don't know. You know.
Isn't that interesting when you look at those forks in the road, right? It's
Yeah.
It's an interesting. I'm glad you chose to go to Reed and North High. I couldn't imagine,
Yeah,
because I mean, I think the group was, I think the Steve thing makes me laugh, and we'll get into Steve, but I want you to keep talking because I want you to, because when you ended up at Reed, how we all kind of came together there, that was kind of an interesting. That's how you when you I guess watching Jack or just looking at other kids how they form their groups. You know what I mean? Because the group is an interesting kind of like I think we're all different,
yeah,
but it affects us in different ways. You know what I mean? I think we all turned out differently, but we're all I think in like we said earlier, wasn't like we were this group trying to start shit with anybody. We were more about we were just goofballs. I mean,
yeah. Does Jack want to go to college, or is that like just like when you're homeschooled, is it a different thing? Like,
college is for people that want to like be a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, I think the expensive party thing is kind of
yeah,
we can't afford it, and it's just kind of one of those things. If we could, I don't know, I'd probably try to discourage them. I mean, there's so many other things to do, Chris. I mean, it's tough. 4 years. I mean, Chloe got into debt, and
yeah, yeah.
she enjoyed it, but probably if you asked her now, if she could have saved the money and done something else, she would have done that. She has a great job that has nothing to do with her school. So
Yeah, exactly. Like you never like yeah, you hear that story. Even with my nephews, it's like they went to great universities. Are they doing anything?
yeah. Uh-oh. You froze. You there? We have a technical difficulty. Chris Wilson is frozen.
Frozen to me, but
Oh,
I'm
there you
back.
are. There you are. You
He's
were like
fine.
this for a minute.
And I know you were all like a Kentucky position.
Oh,
Uh,
it's my internet. There's some funky stuff that weather. It's the Florida weather.
is it warm right now?
It's like 70, which is kind of cold for Florida.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of cool.
Then when it's
Um,
like 80, 90 degrees, it's different. All right, so you go to Reed, you meet
yeah,
us, you meet the group. We start some trouble. And
yeah.
what was your favorite stuff in your teachers in Reed? I mean, I had some favorites. I mean, there were some cool people, but there were a lot of dicks too. I mean,
A lot of assholes, man. There was like people that are like, God, you wonder how they got the teaching job. Um, who was that guy? Mr. Mortimer. Do you remember him? He thought he was
yes,
on a Porsche.
yes.
I think he taught. I don't know. He was a real prick.
Was he a math teacher?
I can't remember. I want to say it was like, I don't
He's a
know,
little guy.
sort of like silverish hair. Like he was like young. He was younger than most of the teachers. But and then there was teachers that were really cool, but that was like high school too. I think of Mr. Spaeth I always liked. He was a cool guy. And then, but there was some real.
I never had Mr. Space.
Did you ever have Mr. Murray?
I don't remember.
I don't even. I think that guy was drunk every day.
Mr. Mr. Murray. Well,
Yeah.
Miss Bouquet. So Adam, I'll get into that in a minute, but I want to talk about junior high again. So junior high, Mr. Seltzer was cool. Remember Mr. Seltzer? He was kind of like this sort of the security guy, but
Yeah, yeah.
so we had this. Okay, so I'd like to know when this started because again, attire is very important in school, and you want to look your best, you want to think you're cool, and but what started the slip-on tennis shoes and the Ray-Ban sunglasses? Because Mr. Seltzer used to walk up to me and ask me if I was stoned.
Remember they got all weird about that? Uh, well, it was a couple things. I think, well, the Vans place used to be there in Laurel Canyon, up
Yeah,
up in the boxes now. And I think it was kind of like a surf skate kind of vibe. And we just wanted to be like surf
yeah,
dudes.
yeah.
We did right in on the slip on because it was a good skate shoe and all around. I mean, I wore them to my prom. Um,
Those are so great.
White slip-ons. And the Ray-Bans were funny because I think it was with you. I'm not sure what we were doing in the area, but like Warner Brothers there on Pass, like the entrance to Warner Brothers across the street used to be uh, was it El Chiquito? It was a Mexican restaurant, and then right next door to it was like a little kiosk that sold tobacco and like old school. Probably was there from the early days, and we went in there just to buy whatever. I don't know if it was like candy or gum. Most likely with you it was candy. But the we went in there and up on the shelf, I remember it was like a little cardboard point of purchasing that had all these dusty Ray-Bans, that were kind of on the cardboard there, and we're like looking like laughing, oh, look at those things, man, look at, and we just thought they were just hilarious, and we bought them and started wearing them. So,
They're badass. Those are still kick ass. The Wayfair.
dude, that's all I wear. I've
Yeah, these
never,
are. This is like a Warby Parker knockoff, but I want to go back to. They have a new. Have you seen the new wide side? The new. They call them the Wayfair wides.
got a couple different styles, and I got Andre got me as a gift. She got me those Meta ones, the smart ones that like film. I was like, you can
Oh,
like listen to music, you can tell them to do stuff. They're pretty cool, man. They're great. The
oh.
quality is really good. They're super spy style. People aren't really hip to them, but they're. I had them for months before I even put them to use, so it was kind of like, these are cool. I don't know, tell
Wow. Does it come out? Have you looked at the footage on it yet? It's good.
high quality. Yeah,
It's
it's
like
weird,
it's like shooting with a can. It's like shooting with an old video. Really.
ridiculous. They're great. I mean, I think it would be great to, you know, I have the sunglass versions, of course, so it's kind of like it'd be nice to have the ones you could wear inside. Then you can capture more stuff. You know,
People inside be like, "Why is he wearing his sunglasses?
oh,
Are you one of them celebrities?"
yeah, that was the other thing too. Like when we started wearing them at school, like everybody just thought we were like goofballs. Like nobody was wearing them at the time. But then
No.
I don't know if you remember too, because that was like we were sort of like cutting edge on many levels with like the Ray-Bans and that. Then when we discovered like the aardvark down there at Melrose, we remember the batting shorts. We go into the
I,
antique bin, pull
I
out all
wear batting. I wear batting shorts at night to smoke my cigars.
yeah, so we went and got those baggy shorts like from the, I don't know, they were probably from the 50s and 60s, some of them. And remember, we used to always look for the pleated pants, like the vintage pleated pants. And we wore those all the time. Remember, people always gave a shit for wearing those. Like, what are those shorts, man? And sure enough, in time, that became like board shorts became exactly that. Like that was
Oh, buddy, listen, I look back on some of the shenanigans and shit we did, and one of the greatest ones still to this day, Jay Belson, from Remax married my sister. It was his birthday. He was the kind of a guy, did real well in life. And we're like, what do you buy a guy like that? So remember the store Oz? It was on in Sherman Oaks. So
there.
um, I go down to Oz. I'm like, I want to get him a fart tape. And there was a box that looked like it had all these fart tapes in it, right? But they were sold out. And I
Yeah.
go to the guy, I go, where's all your fart tapes? He goes, those are super popular. And I'm thinking to myself, we made those fart tapes how long ago?
Dude, that was, yeah. Yeah, we were grown adults by then, but we still did them.
Ah, it's good stuff.
Definitely in my
Ah,
20s.
we weren't. No, no. Those were. That was high school, wasn't it? We did high
Well,
school.
like I remember Adam when we were like riding bicycles and stuff. He had this little cassette player, and every time we came back from the bike ride on the weekends, we'd have it next to us. And when we were at a gas, we'd press record, and then even if they're little 10-second squeakers or less. But then in time, it just built to like a 40-minute thing of
It's
all
amazing. It's fucking amazing.
between, like laughing and then, like you could hear the tape stop and go and then but it was like this all these different
But
different
but
tapes.
again, I don't really know if the other kids were recording their farts on tape. Do you? I mean, that's one of those things that I think defining a type of mindset, because I always like to. I think my wife is really sweet, super super patient. Can you only imagine, right? So, and I always try to tell her, it's like, no, you don't understand. I would never do that. I'm what am, I'd always try to proclaim that I'm somewhat normal, and she'd look at me like, you are not normal, which is
Weird.
good because I don't think what is normal really anyway, right?
Yeah, I think that, but it was funny because I think in school too we were sort of, I think people like looked up to us, I think, because we were just sort of like we thought outside the box and just did stuff and kind of like your dad used to say, "That Wilson guy dances to the beat of his own drum." Uh, but the
No, no, not you.
I think that and it was funny at the time. I always wondered like what it was about me or what I was doing that made him think that if it was just the way I carried myself. Here, I'm like, a teenager. Like, what was it when I came over to your house? Was it because we were like always into mischief or like laughing or goofing, or what did he see that I?
You used to ask him, where are you going, Mr. Dunn? And what'd he say to you? None of your business, Chris.
Your mom used to like that. But
Oh, my mom says hello, by the way.
oh, that's cool, man. She was always good with us, and I used to love watching her throw the kids in the pool that didn't want to go in the.
I just wonder, I just wonder like that. And also like, I mean, I asked her today because I said I was going to talk to you. I go, what were you and dad thinking when you saw Chris and Steve and Adam and all those lunatics? I mean, they just, I mean, 'cause remember going to San Clemente? I remember you guys were pretending like you were gay. You were like, like humping each other. And my dad walked in. He's like, what? Like, it's all right, dad. They're just being weird.
We tried to get Steve to like piss his pants when he was sleeping by putting like warm his hand in warm water.
So when did you meet Schroyer?
It Reed, in a class he sat. Actually, I met him, and it's just so funny because people don't change. But I think it was an English class, and the classroom was separated by like an aisle down the middle. So there was chairs on one side and then chairs on the other side. It wasn't like they were all lined up looking at the front of the room there, like both sides and the teacher. But anyways, I sat on one side and Steve sat next to me, and Stuart White sat on the other side. But Stuart White used to. I met Steve only because I guess they knew each other already, but Stuart used to take like the thumbtacks, off of the wall behind him, like these guys,
Yeah.
and throw them, like launch them at us, and it'd be like, I'm like, what the fuck's with this guy? I've got the way he's hitting, I'm gonna be pissed. And and sure enough, yeah, Stuart, he was the exact same guy he was in eighth grade till he is like,
Oh,
like he was just hilarious, man. The guy, he was a nut. But that's how I met Steve because I'm like, who's this guy? He's like, oh, he's just a friend. Don't worry about it. He's funny. I'm like,
when did you realize he was completely, I mean, because I think out of all of us, I think that I don't know if you agree or not, but I think Steve was definitely probably the most tilted
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
definitely.
a good way. But I mean, like he was like just one of the funniest guys, natural, like comedic. Uh,
Well, yeah, I don't know what we can say on online or not, but yeah, he used to do goofy stuff. The brain and the whole eating eating his milk, to his D. Went on surf trips.
but I still do that. I still think of that when I'm in the back seat and I have some milk and some cookies.
I know there's
I
like,
mean, who does that though? I mean, honestly, we're driving in I think it was your Bug, and it was Peter Frampton was playing on the radio, and we were on our way to go surfing. I think we went to Adam's house. I look in the back seat, and Steve's back there doing that.
oh, I know, man. I think I think I really started to notice it maybe after like when his parents got divorced. It was kind of weird. He had to choose which way to go, like it was with his dad or stay with his mom, and he chose the latter. And I think his dad kind of cut him a deal like, come out with me, I'll take care of your education, and you'll live here, and blah blah blah.
With the
And
Weisses.
there were some bad seeds that were kind of left behind with his mom. I don't know what the story was behind closed doors, but when he got out to Judy's house. I don't know if you remember, we used to terrorize her, with pranks in the middle of it. Remember we used to call out that house when Steve, we were not good, man. We terrorized.
Wait, wait. Just give you some perspective. Out of the great big school of junior high school, and I think he was even in high school, our
Yeah.
class, which were I don't know how many people that would be. That's quite a few, right?
Oh,
And it was before caller ID, before all the other stuff. We'd start wailing a prank on somebody, and what would they do? They would end up like usually stopping us and going, "Wait." Is this Chris Wilson or John Dunn?
At some point.
How embarrassing is that?
This is John Dunn.
It's
Yeah,
John.
we were brutal, but that that Weiss household out there it got targeted. It was like as Skip used to say, it was part of the prevention society, and the and it was and that's when I started to notice like Steve, kind of like disassociating of sorts, like kind of like just making weird choices. And then when we got to Pierce, like the stuff he would be doing with like just like the girls he was dating and things like that, he started to kind of like friends weren't as important or certain things were, but not like his old crew.
Yeah. And we had a lot of good times. I mean, I think Adam Hanusek was amazing. His parents were so nice to let us come and just, stay in the bachelor pad
Yeah.
in one of the best surf beaches in California. I mean, County Line.
um good memories for sure. I think um yeah, Adam, yeah, he was a character. But don't forget, I don't know if you remember this, but Adam had, maybe it was 10th grade, but Adam was sort of like MIA a lot from the group because he had Paulette as a girlfriend. Paulette kind of got out of school early. She had her own apartment in high school. Can you imagine having a girlfriend in high
Right.
school that has her own apartment? No, you're not over there getting laid every minute. So that was like he spent a lot of time with her, and we didn't have like steady girlfriends per se.
No,
Like it, but yeah, he had like this thing going on with her own apartment. She was working. She took
that
that,
was junior high school.
no, it was high school, but she took that proficiency exam or whatever it was, like where you got out of high school early. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
It was, I took it, I remember it because I was sort of disillusioned at some point about high school. And then I realized I was like, I passed and all, but then it's like, oh, then you're going to miss out on your friends and the prom and this and that and having fun. So I definitely, am glad I didn't leave high school because I just,
Dude, it
really
was great stuff. There was some good stuff there.
yeah, yeah. So that's the only thing I always think about between like the social aspect of it, like between homeschooling and this and that, and like how the information you take in or what you pursue or whatever. It doesn't
All
matter.
different. I mean, like, you have to create in homeschool for Jack, he had his
Yes,
hockey team, and he'd go to the combine over in like Coral Springs, and he would skate 2 hours a day, do the weight room, and he was with like NHL coaches and his teammates, and they're all a bunch of goofballs. They're all from like all over the United States. So same thing. I was trying to figure out who's the Steve and who's the Chris out of this group, or who's the Adam, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's all different. But I mean, I don't think I would never want to do it. I would like if I could do it all over again, I'd do it the same way. There's just a couple things I change, but overall, it was the ups and downs. I mean, the we had there was do you remember the gang fights? It was the Mexicans against the surfers at Reed.
grips are coming. Grips. Yeah, I remember that. At Reed, like all the yeah, there was like you'd never be without that stuff. You think about it, it's like junior high school, and you're worried about that kind of stuff.
Well, it was a lot of drama. I mean, that was a big thing. You wanted to fit in.
I
What's
remember
that?
that. I remember being like fearful, like, oh,
Oh
when's it
yeah.
coming down? Oh, what are we gonna do? Yeah,
And you
yeah.
had the brawlers. You had like Rick Hosfield, and you had but what's Rick was a really sweet guy, but he was a badass. And and I thought it'd be fun to go. Did you ever like join those guys behind like at the handball courts after class after school, and they would box with the gloves?
I remember, vaguely remember that. Yeah,
I thought it'd be fun until I got hit in the face with the glove. I'm like, I'm done.
yeah. I remember that. I was like, it's amazing that it was even like they got away with it, at some level. I'm like,
It was the other guy, Sean Fitzgerald, Rick
Sean.
Housfield, Mike Prey.
I used to praise Sean because he was like getting it in junior high with Lynn Blocker.
Oh,
He was
right, right. They were dating. Yeah.
like they were doing it. I had a crush on Lynn. Man, I was like, she used to be in my French class and sat right next to me. I remember she'd come in like crying sometimes because Sean treated her bad, or I was like, oh my God.
Do you still talk to Lynn, right? How do you talk to Lynn?
Yeah, I would cross her path once in a while, and who's still friends with her is Craig Gelfand, So,
Ah,
but
How is Lynn doing? Okay.
yeah, married, just still doing her thing. She always had a real up spirit about her.
Yeah.
What kind of cigar is that?
It's one of those my father Florida Antises.
Can't go
Normally I
wrong.
don't light up this early, but I'm feeling like I need a cigar talking to my buddy here. And I wish you could light up. But the next time we get together and talk, because there's a whole lot of stuff to cover here, you and I, uh,
Yeah,
I'll bring you a cigar and we'll sit up on your roof and do it up there.
yeah, that'd be good
And
actually.
maybe drive some. Do you still have the driving pad, the launch pad for over the freeway?
I could get one just for that. Yeah, yeah, we did some nutty things, but I think we grew up at a good time and we were in a good area. There was a lot of cool stuff, that we experienced and did, and we never really got like, too mature. To this day, I've never been like handcuffed or arrested.
No,
Yeah,
you know what? All the stuff I did. I mean, the only time I ever got handcuffed was when I refused to pay my speeding tickets, which was the dumbest thing ever. And I'd have to like get my dad to bail me out of jail. I like did that twice.
you had moving violations, you just like blew it off.
Just never showed up, man.
And so you had warrants out for
Oh
your
yeah.
arrest?
Oh, they pulled me over and like, oh, you have a warrant, Mr. Dunn. I'm like, oh yeah. They're like, get out of the car. Click, click, and they put me in the car. Oh yeah, take me down.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
Beverly Hills, coming home as a DJ at Max 151. And they also found some other stuff they threw away, and they showed my dad. And my dad, said, what's this stuff? But
Yeah.
um North Hollywood High School, California. Could you ever imagine growing up anywhere else besides California? I mean, it's almost unbelievable.
Oh, no, I mean, I love it, and it's still I make use of it now, even with the motorcycle riding and taking groups out and doing all that stuff. It's like I've seen more great places just since I got into doing that than I ever thought imaginable. Because you have to venture out, like you can get like 30 minutes out your back door, you're like in anywhere USA, and there's these places that I never knew existed that are so cool, but people don't know. They live here all their lives, and they don't know that you can go up to Dirt Mulholland and go to the Nike missile base and look at this view. It's like, it's like
Wow.
minutes away. But I mean, they're all like on Google Maps stuff now, but you can't even get to the that once quiet neighborhood around Lake Hollywood's like a tourist attraction because it's the closest you can get to the Hollywood sign off of
Oh,
park up there in the neighborhood, but everybody goes up there. It's like the neighborhood must be just so pissed off. It's like a bottleneck. There's even like street vendors selling like cappuccinos and
shut up.
people go up there and they take their pictures with like their selfies with the Hollywood sign in the background. It's just insane that they've tried to put like restrictions in, but the neighborhood is it's like an affluent neighborhood too. It's
Yeah,
not. But now it's turned into this like crazy thing.
circus.
Yeah, yeah, it's sad actually, but what do you do? It's just sign of the times.
But I mean, growing up all around that, I mean, we grew up in like, I mean, what was cool was we had, and this doesn't happen now, not even close, but I played basketball with Nick Cassavetes. He went to our high school, John Cassavetes' son, and he was a character. He's still a
think I spotted him at LA Fitness the other day. I was gonna go up and say something to him,
lot of
but
tat, a lot of tattoos.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell him I said hi.
Mhm.
He's on Instagram, and I like sent him a little message, and his response was, "My man."
Yeah, I see him again. I don't know. Yeah, I run into some characters. I ran into Tony Maggio there the other day too. I hadn't seen him in a.
Wow.
There's like there's people that I always praise the ones I've seen since the early days that are still in the gym working out. This one guy I've seen since the early days of Nautilus Plus and like
No.
like it's just they go way back. It's like, oh man, what discipline! If I stayed in the gym all these years, who knows what I'd look like?
Well, it's good for it's yeah, you look good, man. I think you look great. But you were riding the bike. You were doing it differently. I've got my Peloton covered. I won't get rid of it, but we belong to a great gym. So problem is my knees are bad. And
Yeah,
but lifting weights so good because it's I think the best thing for you. I mean, it's to keep things moving. I mean, you don't need to be strong as like, the strong man, but I think even like light weights and doing a lot of reps, um, that's what
Yeah,
I try to do. It's like it's simple.
that's kind of it. Like call it stretching with weights. I'm not like lifting hard, but I just go through a circuit. I hit everything 3 days a week, and try to up the cardio.
Surfing. Tell me
Surfing.
about your surfing, buddy. When we used to go on those surf trips, can you tell me those were absolutely amazing or what? To the beach house?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember we used to laugh because we were waiting. Mind you, at one point we weren't driving, so we'd wait for, your parents were always cool about taking us to, the beach and and then Adam's taking us down there. I remember even Steve's mom. Weren't you in the car that time? She spun out on the 405
Wait
and
a minute, wait a minute, back up.
the
Wait, the spin out on the 405 facing oncoming traffic was awesome. But then how many trips through Malibu Canyon where I was on right behind the driver's side and we were driving and you could see the cliff or I don't even know, like she just got so close to the edge.
what was the deal that time? Why did she like? How did she get facing backwards on the
Well,
405?
she drove a Duster. Remember it was the Duster. And
Bull.
and apparently it was the old style braking system. And I guess one brake side was braking harder than the other. So it just that was the explanation. I don't know.
Uh, man, still surfing a lot is Gordon. Gordon still surfs a lot. I haven't been in the water. I haven't been on a board in, I don't know, years, but I think I think and it just became summer. Like I go out in the summertime, but then I was like I got nicknamed One Wave Wilson because wasn't going to take off on a wave with 10 guys on it, so I just wait my turn. I'd wait till like everybody went in, I catch that inside wave and get out myself and ride a little. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, like it was just but uh surfing.
I lost all the patience. I was like you. I would sit out there way to the right of the lineup,
Yeah.
and I'd be waiting for that. They'd be all catching waves over there, and the one peak out of like 20 waves would show up on the right side. They'd all come paddling over to take my wave, and I'd be like, get out of here, man! That's my wave. I'm screaming at them. Like who's that old kook? Yelling.
Do that. There are some waves in Florida somewhere. Isn't there? Doesn't it get like waves in some places
Oh
down
yeah,
there?
no, it's dude. Kelly Slater's from here.
That's right. Yeah. So you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So let's wait. Our drinking, I want to know about our drinking because I think we officially started like supping in junior high. Was it junior high or was it high school? It was high school.
Uh, yeah, high school for the main, junior high was still like undecided. It was high school. High
I think
school.
there was a lot of weed smoking in junior high, but like no, I mean I don't remember drinking, at least for me,
Yeah.
until we got to high school.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was like, I liked our little party thing where we would go to Winchell's Donuts and get a Coke and the soft drink thing and then hit it with the 151 for the quick free party buzz, 151 and Coke got us there quick.
That
That was
was
nasty drink.
that was that was lightning in a bottle, wasn't it? That was no
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. It's still like, it had a distinct kind of like, fire,
I would
to it.
be when I drink it, I'd be like this. I would like I just had and I wasn't like it didn't make me violent or aggressive. It just fucked my shit up. That was
Yeah.
it.
And then remember for some reason, like it was always like as Tony Altieri called it, Mad Dog, the MD 2020. It's like, what was the story with that stuff that made it so special? Because it was,
You and I drank so much of that, we got ourselves real sick. I think that was but we're not alone because years later, I'm going to tell you, like I would say a couple years ago, and this goes back like Mad Dog was what, 40 years ago? Like,
yeah, that was
yeah.
like, I think it's still around. It's a
But I
popular.
mean, like I was telling somebody about my drinking escapades, and I was mentioning you, and I said Mad Dog, and he's oh fuck. He started telling me a story. I, I was fucked up on Mad Dog, man. I'm like, really? Oh God. That was nasty. Was that worse than like Thunderbird?
Yeah, I think it was like this kosher Jewish drink, so it was like it's something about it. I think the alcohol content was a little bit stronger than regular wine, but I think it was like. Mogan David or Manischewitz something. Yeah, but Mogan David, I think that's what the MD stood for. MD 2020.
Oh,
Whatever the hell that shit
it was
was.
like a fifth bottle too. It used to have we came in like a fifth. Yeah.
You know, there was just something to it that like effed you up bad. It's weird. But it'd be cool to get on the podcast and future podcasts get like a few of all the characters talking about stuff, at the same time.
Oh,
Get like,
we definitely. You let me know who, and we'll send them all links, and we'll do it again.
yeah,
There. Get Adam on here. Would Adam do it?
yeah, yeah. He's just technically challenged when it comes to the computer thing, so we'd have to like have to set it up
That's
for
all right.
him.
It's not so you click the link. They make it super easy now, you know?
If I don't know, I mean, I'm still trying to, get a hold of him, but he's
Yeah. Tough. But what about Gus?
Gus is MIA. I don't know what happened to Gus. Last I heard, he went down to take care of his um, dad down south somewhere, but I don't know.
Wow.
Something changed him. I guess
And
he's
you talked to Gordon, Mr. Gordon.
yeah,
Is he
yeah,
some, did he turn out okay?
yeah, yeah. Gordy
He,
Stong, Gordy Stong.
Gordy Stong.
He's good.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's also he's
Had discipline.
yeah, he's bought a place in Haley, Idaho, and now in his retirement, he kind of goes up there during the winter. He's a ski instructor on the mountain up
Of
there in
course he
Sun
is.
Valley, and then he comes back here and he still works like in the liquor business, but now, yeah, just to get his like little ski thing, he goes and he does that. I think he's actually going up there soon. He reached out to see if I was going to come that way at all, but yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's like the Gordy show. Um, yeah, he's doing well. And then yeah, really, it's just like I'm just in touch with Adam, and like the other guys, probably as much as you, like as
I
far as
don't
like
really,
the
I mean, the guys I talk to are the people like I talk to are Chris Racer. I
yeah,
talk to Chris actually a lot, and then I talk to Mark Gordon probably the most.
yeah,
And they always say the same thing about when I mention your name because we always share fun stories of like when we're cracking up about old stuff. They always go, there was something about Chris. You never knew what was going on with him. There was always some kind of, he never really told you he had that mischievous look in his face. I'm like, well, that's not far from the truth, right?
yeah, nothing's changed. That's funny though, man. That's yeah. We grew up with a lot of characters, that's for sure. There's good times there, my friend. Good times. What do you think? When do you think you're going to do your next one?
I don't know, but what I want to talk about also is what party were we at and where were we when we decided to drink? When I decided to drink the entire fifth of that vodka and I had the 74 van and you took it upon yourself to drive drive me to your house.
You know, it's weird. I want to say
Did I give
for
you the keys or I didn't give you any trouble, right?
probably I might have just saw the situation, but I can't imagine I wasn't drinking too still, but not that hammered. But I forgot what it was, but we were at a few places. But I think I remember being across the hill from my parents because that Leanne Jones had a party, and I remember being there and Terry Peterson showed up, and then we went to another house with her and somebody else at some other place, and I think that's where all the drinking went down. I can't remember where it was, but I remember coming back here because it was close by, and like we just took the van and yeah, it was funny because that back way we always used to go up that we called it Trick Street, because it was Sycamore Trail. I walked the dogs up it now, but it was always kind of like, oh, do the back way, come up Passmore Drive to Woodrow Wilson, then go up Sycamore, and it was like, where the hell are you going? But I took all those little, that had that really
And what
tight.
was I? And wasn't I like hitting the sides of the? I think I was hitting the sides, right?
You're going back and forth and not waking up, and then that was that time when the next morning my mom came out and like with a look.
She had the greatest look of disappointment with her cup of coffee. Just I'm looking up at your window. You had parked it right below the window too. And I'm like, oh, hi, Mrs. Wilson.
Oh, I thought it was. It was funny. I thought it was across the way. Like
Oh, it
I
was
thought,
actually, yes, it was right across the way
like at the
in that
school.
driveway, the school driveway. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just nuts, man. Yeah, she was funny. She was always game for any of. That's why I gotta transfer over some of the Brownie films, that I have because there was some funny stuff there with my mom. I said, "Okay, mom, we're gonna be skateboarding here, and then we're gonna crash into the car, and you come out, get real mad, and hit us with the broom." She used to do all sorts of
I
stuff.
love the photos with her with the gun. It's
Yeah,
so
like
great.
that was a classic example. I go, Mom, here, take the cigar and the gun and act like you're really pissed, like just like you're gonna cap somebody. An all-time classic photo, it's
Aw,
that's a good one.
that's
I
good stuff, man.
need to blow it up. I always forget to
So you're in the same house off of where you were in Hollywood there. Yeah.
yeah,
So cool.
yeah. We're stay for the meantime. I think eventually we've been fixing it up. I don't even know the last time you stepped foot into this place, but it's
No.
changed. But eventually we'll probably go somewhere else. But like, where is the
Yeah.
question? You've always been good. Like you've gone around and checked out some areas and lived in different places. Sounds like Florida.
Not by choice. I mean, it was by it wasn't being arrested. It was more about, the immigration thing and, we got the weird stick the immigration thing was weird for us with Steph, being Canadian. I didn't think it was a big deal until it became a big deal.
What was? I mean, you got married and you married a Canadian. So like, what was the stickler on?
So this is crazy. This is gonna sound crazy, but it's a true story. So playing golf with my lawyer and my good friend Chris,
Yeah,
and the phone rings. It's Steph. She can't get across the border. I'm like, why? So they just detained her. So it turns out the woman that detained her, they found I had my black American Express card. We had one with her name on it, and we had paperwork working, but what it boiled down to is the Patriot Act, when they passed that law, made it they can if they don't you don't realize it because you're here in the States, you're a citizen, and I didn't at the time. But if you're from other parts of the world, then you're trying to come in, if they don't like you, they're gonna just fuck with you. And this woman either uh Steph reminded her of somebody that she grew up with, or she just didn't like her. But she was a total bitch to Steph and wouldn't let her back in the country. And then you don't know what they mark on your passport, if it's for
yeah,
5 years or it's indefinite or just like that moment.
yeah,
So I was pissed. So we ended up packing everything up in the at the house at the beach in Oxnard and moved to Costa Rica. Costa Rica is because we wanted to go.
yeah,
But Steph was also like 32 weeks or 31 weeks pregnant with Emma at the time. And she had Jack. Jack was 10 months old or 11 months old. And so we had, and when you're not allowed in the US, you have to fly around the US. So she had to fly through Mexico City to get to Costa Rica. So yeah, no, it's been three countries, buddy, but I'm back to Florida. And
yeah,
I got, there's something to be said about staying at home base, which you've done, which is, I think, awesome. But then there's something also this is the longest state since California I've lived in. So
yeah,
out of growing up where we grew up, but I think I've been here 16 years, 17 years. So it's been a good chunk.
yeah. You don't plan like that. That's home now. You don't plan on going anywhere else, or you know.
No, we got 2 acres and a bunch of animals. Steph just got a 501(c) filing for a nonprofit. She wants to rescue the animals, and she's got a lot of people that want to give her money. So it's like, okay, but it's like, buddy, it's wild. I mean, we have donkeys. We got two donkeys, one mini horse, two potbelly pigs, 70 chickens, a turkey, a goose,
Wow.
calling ducks, regular ducks, goats that she milks every day. That there's ladies that buy milk continually every day. They buy all our eggs. It's wild. It's a different lifestyle. I mean, where I went from being with you guys and there, the cartoon character, to where I am
Yeah,
now, but there's a huge gap in time where you and I didn't talk, but there's a lot of stuff that happened between you and I guess what I want to know from you is like the bands you were in, because you all of a sudden, like when I sort of uh moved a different direction, you sort of found music, it seemed like, and you got better and better at it and had your bands.
always kind of stuck to it, you know. I mean, the band's like, you know, I'm still like, even like last night I was playing and doing stuff. There's always, I'm more like on the songwriting aspect of it now. I'm trying to like just work on stuff to get to other artists, and there's some stuff kind of unfolding there, but I'm getting ready to go in and record some stuff, so I'll make sure I get it to you. But a lot of it is, you know, playing live and being in a band and doing whatever. There's nothing like it. There's magical, but to like to pursue it at this point in the game, to like, oh, you're gonna make it. It's like whatever, you know. But I don't. I never want to feel. I'll never give it up. You know, I'll always be a player and hopefully be 80 something years old still. Like, you know, like,
I
hey,
don't
let's
know,
play.
man. Look at the Stones. I mean, the Stones are older than us.
Yeah, yeah. But they're the Stones. They've been at it for a while and they're popular and they've made millions. You know, but it's
So when are
uh
you going to release that one single Woch and Pepe?
Much and Pepe's. I'm mixing it right now.
Woch and Pepe, Woch Pepe.
What was I gonna say? Uh, yeah. So I mean, it's still an ongoing thing, but it's cool. You know,
You
music's
had
great.
Hector. Give me the bands. You had Hector. Were you in? You were Hector and the Connectors, right?
No, what the hell is that?
Wait, didn't you play in the Hector and the Connectors with? That was a band put together with Line One. Didn't you play with when we played
No.
that sushi bar? Was it at sushi bar at
Oh,
that was like a
uh,
one-time gig. I'm almost positive you played with that band with those guys, with John Shanks and
um, I want to say something. I forgot about it. Was if it was short-lived or a jam or something, but
mhm.
I can't remember. Um, yeah, those guys they were kind of in the know at the time. You know, they were John's gone on to do cool stuff, I guess. You know.
Yeah, they were produced by Kenny Gradney from Little Feat.
Hmm.
It was interesting. They were an interesting band. There was a jazz fusion band that we'd bring to the discos. Oh wait, okay, so all right, buddy, here we go. So
You,
now we're gonna
you
enter it. We're gonna enter into a different realm of like way outer being. So
Oh wait a second though. I got a weird when that Kenny Gradney thing. I've got a weird Kenny Gradney story.
mhm.
A few months ago, a couple of months ago, I was at the Verizon store and getting upgrading the phone, and there's this guy I'm talking to, and he seems super cool, and he asked me what I was doing, blah blah blah. I said, oh yeah, I'm into music, and he's like, oh yeah, me too. He goes, you ever hear of the band Little Feat? I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, yeah. I play bass. I've been playing bass in that band for since '75. And I'm like, Jesus, and it was him. It was so weird.
Yeah.
There's one shop on Tahunga there. It sells like gifts and stuff, and he's still touring with the band. He's like, yeah, man, we do like 200 some odd shows a year, you know. But he's
Did you
super.
bring up line one at all? Did you know that connection? Yeah.
I didn't know the connection. If I ever
That
run
was
into
their
him,
big that was their big claim, like when but they were good, man. I mean, like John Goldstein on keyboards. You had who was the drummer?
I think the drummer was Ed Bush. Yeah,
No, that was Harry Peavy. What is his name? I think it's
bass player.
Shanks.
Shanks. No, the bass player was Charlie DeCrane.
That just being a goof.
Peter Schwarma or something.
I did. So okay, so you and I, now what? It was 1970s. I was probably like disco was just rocking. Saturday Night Fever was popping. It was like a whole new world that I think this generation, no generation will ever understand. And you and I got in our head that we thought it'd be like a great idea. We pulled up to Studio One. Do you remember that on Lapeer in Santa Monica?
Well, we had a mission because we heard they had the best sound system,
Dude, they had the Earthquake, Sirwin Vegas,
yeah,
And Ed King from LA Sound, not LA Sound. What was his company called? Ed King was nuts. He's the one
yeah,
that set up all those earthquake systems. I later got to know. But I'll never forget you and I pulled up to this place, and it was this. First of all, it was all gay, and that's the first weirdness about it. But we were totally confident walking in because we were flaming heterosexuals, and it didn't
yeah,
matter to us. But looking at like the building, it was this black, ominous like warehouse that
yeah.
I don't even remember this now, but it was like you hear this like boom, 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 like the windows were shaking on the outside. I'm like, what the fuck is this place?
No, I remember. I don't know. The deal was when we went there, though. I don't remember it being like the high time. I felt like it wasn't crowded when we went. Do you remember it being like it was like an off time or something? Because I don't remember.
I grew there early. I think that place didn't get going till midnight.
Yeah, it was early, and because it wasn't like we were like in Boys Town and like, holy shit, what's going on here? There's a lot of dudes. There was remember Circus Disco too. Circus
Do I
Disco,
remember Circus Disco? Of course, yeah.
one that was like, they that was huge. But those places used to be get packed.
Oh my God. You know, I ended up becoming friends with Gene LaPietro that owned Circus Disco. He was the mayor of West Hollywood, I think, or and these guys were all they were gangsters, but they were definitely connected guys. I mean, those places were fantastic. I mean, God, some of the disco stuff that went through there. But you and I went there. We went there a couple times, didn't we? I remember. Didn't we meet the owner too? I remember him telling us like, I think he was straight, and he was telling us, he was telling us like it was easy money because it was the first time I ever heard two disposable incomes.
Yeah,
It made sense to me, and you never saw a fight, and you never
yeah,
saw any problems. It was like, wow, this is and DJing there. I think is the DJ. What you and I were looking at was the perfection that you had to do to
yeah.
play that kind of music for that particular. That was the highest level of DJing in a club atmosphere, is the way I looked at it.
It's always kind of like getting the BPMs, like you get the segues and the mixes right, to like be like the trick was sometimes it's like boom, you go into the next thing, but sometimes if you could like blend into like the
Oh
same,
yeah,
it was always like the key to keep like the rhythm up and going.
and you keep that. You get them up, and you
Yeah,
bring them down. And that was great. And then it was also like for music, Chris. You remember it was a very kind of explosive time too because we were playing a lot of disco, but we were also playing a lot of European. Like you still, what was your favorite disco songs? I think I know. It's wasn't Cerrone was one of them.
it's like always a great one. That Give Me Love. I don't know who Cerrone was or what the deal was. It was probably there was a few good songs. I liked during that time. There was that other um, Sylvester tune.
Mm.
Make me feel so real. That was good.
Oh my God.
And then Evelyn Champagne King, shame, down, 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 shame. That was a good one.
And in the last dance from Donna Summer, Donna Summer,
Yeah, that was always the good one.
but Saturday Night Fever rocked. So my favorite place we ever like teamed up was Casa Vega.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Casa Vega
Those were good parties. That was
was
fun.
maybe like I think everyone was there. And
Yeah,
it was like the atmosphere was fantastic. Everyone, I think the O'Brien sisters were there, Corby was there, all the boys, and Skip was there. I mean, and you were rocking the tunes. You were playing, I remember forget you were playing like off the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack and
yeah.
that was a big thing. It still is today that those songs are still super popular.
I just saw a commercial last night with for a bank card where and I just didn't realize it to the end. It was like Santa Claus like dancing like to the Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive, and I was like, oh, look at Santa coming down the sidewalk. Yeah, they were like mocking like the same Travolta thing, and then inside that it goes to inside the disco and doing the moves a little bit, and then when the camera pans in, I'm like, that's fucking Travolta in the Santa outfit. Like Jesus, man, never ending.
That guy made a comeback, didn't he? It was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that's but yeah, it was it was a good era. It was cool. We got that experience and you had the connection to the albums through Tommy, which is probably how
Oh, dude, wait, hold on. I'm gonna go back to that for a second, but I want to just share a moment. So, we grew up in Disneyland, and out here it's Disney World, right? So, they have these rides out there, and one's called Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you heard of this ride? Okay. I think I really didn't know what to expect. I think it's like one of my favorite roller coasters. It kind of goes up and back but right when it starts, guess what song starts playing? Bum 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 bum. Disco Inferno.
great
And
song.
everyone's freaking out. It's like one of the top songs on that ride.
Yeah, that's a
So
trip.
Disco Inferno was like our song. That was amazing.
There was some great stuff that came out during that time. And that LTD song, Back in Love Again.
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah. If you weren't dancing and you didn't know how to dance, you know.
That song, that was one song when that came on that always got me out there dancing. Like if there was any question about if I was going to dance to anything, it was that LTD song. That was just and the riff, like it was just you couldn't even beat that. Then the heat wave stuff too. Remember the Alterians were always like, "Put on heat wave," like it was like, put on, like what was the song? The big heat wave hit.
Boogie
Uh,
Nights.
no, Boogie Nights. No, it was that other one. God, what
Always
was
and Forever.
no that heat wave tune that Tony always wanted to hear it. God, I gotta find it now. It's heat wave. It was like they had two songs during that era.
We'll check Google here. Hold on.
Wait a second, I'm gonna find it. It was um. God, man. Yeah, I guess there was Boogie Nights, but it was the other one though. Oh, the Groove Line.
Yes.
The Groove Line.
They liked that song.
Oh,
That
she's
wasn't
a
my favorite songs, but it was a good song.
Wilson. Put on Groove Line. Wilson. Yeah, put it on. Yeah, that was some good stuff. Yeah, I forgot about the. Now, what was your connection to Serwin Vega? How'd you get in with those guys over there?
Oh boy, that's a great story. Wanted to be a mobile DJ.
Yeah,
That was sort of when we back up to where we were at Studio One, the mobile DJ thing, right? So the mobile DJ thing turned into kind of a fun thing. So I met these guys they're all from England, and they had a big mobile DJ company, and they wanted to know if I could get Serwin Vega speakers.
yeah,
So I think Steve Serwinski might have introduced me to Ruben, who was the manager at the time of Serwin Vega. And the next thing you know, I'm in like the warehouse and I'm looking at, this is before the big disco speakers were built, or I think they were. I mean, so we took a cabinet and built the 18-inch woofer with the with the big horn and the two super tweeters, and they put the handles on them, and that was my speaker.
remember the
The
model number on it? I remember the model number of those speakers. Do you remember what they were called?
V33s. Ha 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 ha. How could I forget?
V30.
V33s, man. And those used to rock off a simple Marantz
Yeah,
38-watt ridiculous amp.
it was that Harman Kardon thing. It was like a Harman
Yeah, there
Kardon.
was two. There was the Marantz and the Harman Kardon.
Yeah, just like yeah, they just every party. I remember going to like doing some like house parties too, like a few times. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't like didn't like Kushel take over the controls for a while? Didn't like Kushel DJ for a while?
No, no, he was the door. He was at the door.
I thought the Kushel got behind there a few times and
No, no, no. It was either you or me, and then Lee Selwyn jumped in.
lead. How about fucking Kushel though, man? He's still like tennis guy at Campbell Hall. Good for him. I think they won their championship or something this year.
Yeah, no, he's a rock steady, competitive. I think he's done really well as far as like, his contribution back to he loves the sport and and his girls and what he's doing. I mean, it's amazing. I love listening to him. But his brother had moved here to Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
His
really?
brother, oh, his brother. So I had no idea. I had lost touch with the Cushels for a little while. We'd always talk, whatever, but Kevin, I guess, became he'd been investing since he said he was 19 and put all his money into stocks, and when Apple went crazy he made a ton of money, but he bought a house in Sherman Oaks. He owns it outright and has a
Yeah.
couple nice cars, and he custom built a house in Delray for like $5.2 million and has a powder blue baby blue Bentley parked in the he did really well.
Wow.
like like
That's
cra- like crazy well. And he's living the life. He's not married. And he just like, he's like Johnny. Life's
that's
good.
Steve didn't get married, did he?
No, neither one of them got married. But the mom and dad are still alive. They're like, I think the dad just turned 100, Alex. He used to call me the Maven.
Maven.
Did you know that, where they lived in Laurelwood that remember the DJ Chucky Weiss, not Chucky Weiss, Chucky Star?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The guy used to play Odyssey in the Sugar Shack. What are the
Mhm.
chances those were his next door neighbors? Chucky Star was the next door neighbor, yeah.
So weird, man. That's crazy, man. That's oh, that's cool, man. Um, I think I probably have to get on and do a few things. You think we got enough content for the first run?
Oh yeah, no, Dewey. We got stuff later on to talk about because we never really got into there's some other stuff there that's pretty good, I think.
When,
Um
when's the next one, my friend?
whenever you want. I'd like to come out there, but if we can't do that, I'll do it like this again and
Yeah,
maybe park yourself outside and light up a stogie. I'll send you a stogie to light up when we
just
when
got
we
a guy.
talk.
It's not too noisy. It's just the freeway and stuff that's out there. So once I'm outside, the freeway is always like, like
Oh
driving.
yeah. I can't, if you got I think you can click on sound. I think you can put noise reduction on your mic.
Yeah, probably do. Well, I'm just
Because you
going through.
can't hear the chickens, right?
No, I can't hear anything. I'm just going through the speaker and the laptop right now.
Yeah, because even through the Zoom will do, I think it'll do automatically, it'll do that on your thing there.
Cool, Papa.
Oh no,
Thank
buddy. Listen, Merry Christmas, and we'll do if we don't do it before Christmas, maybe right afterwards.
Plus, I'm actually I'm going to New York this week. Probably can do something from there. It'd be kind of cool.
New York City, baby. That'd be good.
Hell, yeah, yeah,
That's the beauty of being able to do this. I want to get that I told you that setup where you can sit on any table anywhere and just go right
yeah,
off the phone. I think the phone's the way to go.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, brother.
Hey, old friend. Happy belated birthday. Merry Christmas.
Actually, can I do it from the iPhone? Can I
Yeah, oh
if I
yeah. Yeah, that's
same
what we're gonna do next because I like this, but it's like I'd rather do it from the phone because I'm so used to talking to you on the phone.
yeah, exactly. All right,
All right, my
Papacito.
brother. I'll see you later. You're looking good, Chris.
You too, brother. Oh,
Adios.
okay. I'll see you later, Papa. Over now.
Bye-bye. Bye.